Hello, everyone. It's time for another writing theory stream. Pew, 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 pew. I need a soundboard with strictly with air horns and nothing else. Hi, hello. How's it going? Hello. Thanks for joining. Hello, I see some familiar names in the chat. We got Walter, Helljumper, Mina. How's it going? How's it going? We got some important business to attend to today. Got to roll up the sleeves a little bit. How's everyone doing? Mina is so late over there. But still, it's nice to hang out. Let's go. Let's go. We have some important business to attend to today. I knew for a Monday stream that we needed something right off the bat. Thick9, hello. Right off the bat, that would get us in the mood to write. Some critical thinking, some important thinking. Danny, hello. Just finished your Duolingo and ready to write. What language are you learning? Spanish, German, French, Korean? That'd be pretty sick. Frey, hello, hello. Let me show you what I'm talking about when it comes to sort of the wake up the brain exercise. Young Legend, hello, hello, welcome, welcome. Let me show you what we're talking about. I'm on Sporkle. Welsh, that's crazy. I'm on Sporkle with a very important quiz. And this quiz is, can you pick an image of the type of door when given their name? And I thought maybe this was just the right thing that we needed to get the juices flowing in our big old craniums. Is that your brain? In our big old cranium cadoodles. So we can start writing. We got any door experts in the chat? Any door experts in the chat? Me, I'm more of a door hobbyist. Sort of a door layman. No, not really a door expert or a dexpert, as we like to say. Let's get started. Let's get started. Before going into this, I'm going to rate my door knowledge. I think on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being someone who's never seen a door before, and 10 being a door installer, I'm probably at a 6.5, maybe even a 7. I've handled a couple doors in my day. I've been known to change a lock or two. I've been known to install a weather seal. No big deal. I've hung my own doors. Let's see what we can do here. Sliding barn door. The Pinterest door, as us door laymen like to call them. Where you buy the equipment and then you identify what's the place in my house that doesn't need to be soundproofed or scent-proofed, smell-proofed. And how can we install a door there? Sliding barn door all day, every day. Rolling metal door. Rolling metal doors. This one's easy. This one's easy. This is when you've been at the mall a little bit too late. You're there at 9:30 p.m. and you start hearing the sound off in the distance. You know, that rattle that signifies the day is coming to an end. Metal rolling door. Screen door with glass secondary. See, now we're getting some modifiers. Screen door with glass secondary. Ooh. Screen door with glass secondary. I see a screen door up here. I also see this thing. This feels like a security gate, which I feel like would be the thing you would really latch onto for this one. This is just a sliding door, which means screen door with glass secondary, top middle. You ain't never seen it done like this, am I right? Sliding glass door, don't waste my time. Bam. Saloon swinging door. All right, here's the real question right now. We all know the saloon swinging door. Who here has ever seen one of these in real life? Who has seen one of these saloon swinging doors in real life? I need to know. Hell Jumper says, I have, but smaller. Walter says, not me. Only in theme parks. Great answer, Frey. Because my follow-up question was going to be, where? Where are you seeing a saloon swinging door? Only when I was in theater. That makes a lot of sense. I got a confession to make, y'all. I am such a sucker for Western stories and pirate stories. So, you're talking to me about a saloon swinging door, I'm there. I don't need any more convincing. I have in my house growing up. That's dope. Love that. Mina, never seen one. My heart goes out to you. I was actually at a cabin in Wisconsin that used to be a bar. Oh, wow. How about that? How about that? Saloon swinging door. That one's easy. 4-panel door. The 4-panel door. And an old theater too. Hey, okay, you know what? I guess maybe these shouldn't be called saloon swinging doors. Maybe they should be called insert joke here. Thank you. 4-panel door, shower door, easiest one on here. Closet foldable, get me out of this mess. I hate these doors. Collapsible steel. Whoa. This is a twist. Collapsible steel door. Right? It's got to be this boy over here. I thought this would be called like security door. Collapsible. Whew, close one. Revolving door, don't play. A Dutch door. Where my Dutch friends at? Dutch doors. Okay, you know what? I'm in trouble here. Cuz I've known this as a farmhouse door. A Dutch door to me would have to be one of these two then. I don't think it would be this one. You know what? We'll come back to Dutch door. We need our Dutch friends in chat to help us out. Hollow metal hospital door. Is that just the elevator door? Oh! No! Dude, how embarrassing to take a quiz on doors and not get 100%. Cathedral door, right? Oh no, wait. There was a time limit! All right, speed run, not looking at the answers. Replay. We going. Oh, that was brutal. We spent 5 minutes not getting all of the doors. Screen door, glass secondary, bam. Hello? Saloon swinging, bam. Revolving, bam. 4-panel, easy. 8-panel, holy, that's gotta be this boy. Sliding glass, easy. Garage, easy. Hollow metal, okay, I would not have guessed that. Cellar storm door, get me out of here. Closet foldable, worst doors on the planet. Fairy door. Cathedral, bam. Rolling metal, bam. Dutch door. I'm assuming this is the AKA farmhouse. Elevator, bam. Collapsible steel, bam. Shower, bam. Sliding barn. Get me on speedrunning.com. Get me on speedrunning.org. I can't believe it. Kaylee says, I enjoyed that surrealism video you put out earlier. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I don't feel like that video topic is going to get the kind of traction as some other topics, but it's one I'm interested in. He said, did you ever get around to reading the Rificant? If I can, I don't know how to pronounce it. I opened up the page and I scrolled through and I read some things. I didn't study it, but I did go through and read parts of it. And the prose was bonkers. Isn't it? It was, if I remember, it was when you originally posted it. If I remember, it was like, it was like from the perspective of a hive. Am I right in that? Like a hive mind kind of thing? Let me know. But I did look at it. So when a couple weeks ago, I did a poll in the Discord, and I was like, what sort of level of writing content are you guys all sort of interested in? What do you like to consume? Beginner level stuff, here's like this plot framework, and let's talk about how to use it. Intermediate level stuff, let's break down some specific narrative, sort of like, what would the right word be? Some like narrative techniques, or even like advanced things where it might be like breaking down a story, or it might be like, I kind of put surrealism kind of maybe up there, kind of topics that you don't typically come across on YouTube. And the general consensus seemed to be intermediate topics, which makes me happy, because I would rather talk about surrealism. I would rather talk about how to write a bromance. That's an upcoming video, that script that I'm working on. More so, I'd rather write videos like that more so than let's talk about the 7-act plot structure, what films can be put into that plot structure, and how to use it. Hey, you know what? I'm glad to see people liking the bromance. I also feel that way. Also, Katie Starr, hello, welcome to the chat. Sherlock Holmes, right. So what do you think? Here's a question for you. What do you think are the best bromances in literature and in film, right? TV or movies? Because I think there's two that really like top of the brain that come to mind. Of course, Turk and JD on Scrubs, and of course Gus and Sean from Psych. Now here's the thing, you might say, ooh, Joey and Chandler on Friends. You might say Ted and Marshall, How I Met Your Mother. You might say Nick and Schmidt from New Girl. You might say, let's see, what are some other good ones? I'll stick to those three. I have a hard time calling those bromances. I see some Merry and Pippin, some Samwise and Frodo, very good bromances. But here's the thing with those three examples I just gave you, I don't think I call those bromances. I think that's just like a, what's the right word? What's it called when you have like a large cast of characters that are all like the star? There's a big friend group, and these are like two people in the friend group who are also like buddies. That's not quite the same thing as a bromance. Ensemble cast, thank you, Thick-D9. I don't know if I count that as a bromance, because the story itself focuses so much more on like everyone's friendship, while something like Gus and Sean from Psych are very much like it's them two, you know? Them two. I think Frodo and Sam works. I think Merry and Pippin works. Kirk and Spock, I think that's a pretty good one. I'm gonna have to figure out a good definition for the bromance before we talk about writing it. Now, in the books that I read, I'll tell you right now, the two best bromances I've come across. Number one. Okay, well, I shouldn't have ordered these. Now I'm in a bind. There is a book called The Ember Blade by Chris Wooding. That is a sleeper hit that no one's talking about. It is a great sort of like modern rehashing of the quest fantasy. If you liked Lord of the Rings as an idea for a story, right, where there's like, here's like the mythical object and like here's the quest, and you know it's us, and then there's like this big giant evil empire. The Ember Blade is a fantastic modern retelling of that kind of story, and it features a awesome romance. Then, next one that comes to mind, which has been really big in the fantasy space, Lies of Locke Lamora. Locke, and I always called him Jean, even though it might be Jean. It's probably Jean. But that's another great bromance if you've read any of those books. Jay and Silent Bob, I mean that's, I think, a pretty good example. House and Wilson. Isn't House and Wilson not a different version of Holmes and Watson? You might have unlocked something there. I think when it comes down to a lot of shows like that, like House, even Psych, it's a Sherlock Holmes rebranding. And now that Sherlock Holmes is back in the public domain, we might see more of it. Gilgamesh and Enkidu. You're right. It's not the first thing that comes to my mind, the Epic of Gilgamesh. But you're not wrong. The tough part for making a video on bromances is choosing something that a lot of people have familiarity with, but also is visually appealing enough to make a video out of it. Like if I were to be like, boom, let me tell you, I think the best bromance in every, Gilgamesh and Enkidu are like the best bromance. But then what you end up showing is just, here's some pictures of an old manuscript. Crazy. All right, well, I'm not gonna waste too much time today because we got some work to do. What was to see if I missed any. Bucky and Cap from Captain America as a bromance, pretty good. Here's the thing. Got bad news. My Marvel movie experience, it's not great. Let me tell you. I have seen Iron Man 1 and 2. I saw Iron Man 3. Captain America, the first one. I've seen Thor 1, 2, and 3. Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2. Avengers 2. Cut it. That's the end. That's all the Marvel movies I've seen. You can roast me in the comments. You can post little reactions to support me in my time of need. Helljumper says stop after Endgame. Someone needs, you know how there's like what's it called? The machete order for like watching Star Wars, where it's like, okay, like you can watch them all, but if you watch them in this order, like the experience is a little different, maybe better, but like here's a different way to do it. Or you know how animes will be like, hey, if you want to watch this Naruto anime, watch episodes 1 through 32, 36 through 59, 61 through blah blah, and cut out all the filler. Someone needs to do that for the Marvel movies, because I would like to get the full experience, but I also don't want to watch that many movies. You know what I mean? I'm sure they're all really good. But also, I don't watch a ton of movies. I've started to get better. I've been watching through the Alien franchise, which is probably, I'm not, I'm the kind of guy that's like, I get to a trend like a decade after that trend's over. So it'll be like, I'm the kind of guy that would be like, oh my God, did you guys see this Spider-Man movie? But I'm talking about Andrew Garfield. And I'm like, whoa, I won't spoil anything. Some people hate themselves to watch them all. Some people have hobbies. I mean, I think it was probably awesome to be super invested in the Marvel movies as they were coming out. If you ever see videos of like people who are recording in the movie theater of the audience reaction on like opening night, that's super cool. And I kind of feel that about Game of Thrones. After Game of Thrones was already over, I was like, sheesh, I should watch some Game of Thrones. You guys see that in third Spider-Man movie, right? 69? Yeah, crazy. Hold on, I'm trying to think of what's a good quote from that third Spider-Man movie. He insults someone in that one. Hold on, it's what's the quote? Oh man, I'll never remember it. Hold on. I gotta look up the quotes from Spider-Man 3, Tobey Maguire. And then one day I gotta get a soundboard. You gonna cry? What's up? You gonna cry is a good one. I feel like there's one. I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye. That's it. I need that in a soundboard. And every time there's a comment I disagree with, I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye. So good. Oh God. Frey says, would you consider SpongeBob and Patrick to be a bromance? I think I would. I think they're a pretty good example, but the thing is, not in every single episode, right? Because that's kind of that same kind of ensemble kind of cast, right? We get so much of the show where like they're tangential, but then you get other episodes where they're like ride or die, like, you know. What are you mad at? I'm mad because I can't see my forehead. What are you mad at? Can we talk about how insanely big SpongeBob was? It's like a multi-billion-dollar franchise. Crazy. Firmly grasp it. Jojo Rabbit was a surprise bit of awesome, a very different type of bromance. Is that from Jojo? What's that? Wait a minute. Is that a show I'm thinking of? Is that, or am I thinking of JoJo's Crazy Adventure? What show am I thinking of? What was that show? Jojo. What was that show am I thinking of? Do you guys remember this show? I don't think it's the name. Bobo. Bobo. Do you guys remember this? What in the world? Is this Bo. I have a cousin named Bo. I wonder how he feels about this show. I didn't really watch much of this show. This was like, I'm talking Cartoon Network, you know, like mid to late 2000s. I think I self-imposed a rule where I was like, This show's too much for me. I was there for Dragon Ball Z. Bobo. All right, well, let's do some writing. I think that's why we're really here. Let's get to the actual writing. Let me make sure I don't overwrite my word count. Rookie mistake. Who all's doing some writing today? Who all's doing some writing? I'm also going to be thinking of the best SpongeBob quote, since I missed that in the chat. Frey doing some writing. Hell Jumper, love it. Love it. We're going to do some good progress today. I'm feeling like 3 writing sprints, maybe 3.5, which means a little over an hour of writing. 59 says, I can try. My weekend was dry in terms of words. My weekend was not dry in terms of precipitation. Day Swaller says, I'm in. Mina says, I'm the only time of the day I have energy. I'm glad you choose to spend it in the live stream. I really appreciate that. Danny says, I boomed on Friday, so I got some words to make up. I feel that. Katie says, I'm working on another short story and will continue with my plan for my nonfiction novel. I love that. And Kaylee, I'll be doing some writing. Yes, let's go. It's going to be a good time. I love at the end of these live streams. Look, I get it's not always the way I kind of feel with the live streams is like there's so many things you could be doing. The fact that you want to write and that you're hanging out here and you want to write is pretty awesome. And it feels pretty darn good at the end of the live stream to be like, you know what? Another day, another chapter. You just keep doing that, you got a whole dang book. So let's do it. I'm gonna turn up the lo-fi music, start the timer. I'm gonna turn a fan on before I do that. Hold on 1 second. Day Swaller says, is late here just one sprint? But you know what? One sprint's better than none sprints. And I think that's a great time to start writing. All right, microphone's going off, music's going up. See you guys on the other side. Writing sprint number 1 is done. And see some new names in the chat. Lantern Valley, welcome back, buddy. Welcome back. And Professor Aspen, hiya, hello. Doing some editing on my end. Glad to hear it, glad to hear it. Started writing 1.5 years ago and made steady progress. Love to hear it, love to hear it. Well, if this is your first time joining the live stream, this is a great way to make some progress on what you're working and hopefully have a little fun while you do it. How'd everyone do on the writing sprints? Let me count up my words. Let's see what we got here. 59,450. 59,450. Look at that. Oh. Our next sprint, I'm going to get pretty close to breaking 60,000. Let's go. Danny says 503 words. I got in a groove. Love to hear it. Frey, 360 words. Great job, Frey. Love it. Walter, 176 okay words. You know what? I appreciate you being honest. Sometimes I feel like that too. Don't worry. 59, 244. Friday left me some accidental conflict in the end of the last scene, so I played with that for a bit. Nice. Helljumper, 344. Professor Aspen just joined. Don't worry, we will be doing more writing sprints or editing sprints if that's what you need. And Kaylee says, I spent the sprint working out details before doing the actual writing of this pivotal chapter. Sounds like you're writing something pretty fun. I like the idea of Chekhov's spaceship. 59. Big fan, big fan. Professor Aspen, you don't have to write if you have other things to do as well. This is just like some dedicated work time. And fun time. Fun time? Yeah, fun time, fun time. I feel like that's a trope I've seen a lot lately. It's because that trope is dope and fun to read, and I imagine super fun to write too. Those are the best tropes. Kaylee's on the inciting incident. For those who don't know, I've been working on the story called Upon Careless Gray Hills, murder mystery set in Alaska. Alaska mentioned, let's go. 60,000 words. I feel like things are cascading. I'm getting some domino effect kind of. We've uncovered this clue that's leading us to this next clue. Here's this terrible thing that happened, but it unlocked this other thing. And it finally feels like things are moving, right? The first half of the mystery novel is kind of all like, here's this mysterious thing. Is this other thing a red herring? Oh, what an interesting detail the author mentioned. I wonder if that's going to come back. And at some point, they start coming back. You know what I'm saying? Danny says, where in Alaska, though? Oh, I'm so glad you asked. Whittier, Alaska, a real place I visited about 5 years ago. A 2-hour train ride outside of Anchorage. Whittier, Alaska has one tunnel, a 2-mile-long tunnel to access it. And everyone who lives in Whittier, Alaska, all the permanent residents, live in one single apartment building. And when I visited there, I was like, wow, this place is cool. Also, would be crazy if there was a murder mystery here. Of course, that tunnel is going to get closed up and everyone's going to be trapped. 59 says, you know what would be a funny Alaska story? A Da Vinci Code that revolves around Bob Ross's paintings. Honestly, 59, you should write that. You should write that. That could get big. All the clues and all the different Bob Ross paintings were not happy little accidents, but he was a mastermind. Professor Aspen, so I've been trying to improve on getting stuff pulled together. I'm getting more confident, and other writing creators have helped a lot. Professor Aspen, one of the great things about the live stream is this is a place where, and this is my favorite part about the whole thing, as you're doing your editing or doing your writing or whatever you're working on in the live stream, if you feel like Oh God, I just found something here that like I'm struggling with, or I have a problem with, or I have a question on. This is a great place to ask that question. So if something comes up, feel free to post it in the chat. Danny says, I love the story. That's why I asked. I think the setting is so cool. I thought you asked because I've probably told people about Whittier, Alaska. Like, let's see. There were 20 live streams in November during Novella November. We've done 5 more last week. So I've probably talked about Whittier, Alaska about 20 times. I'm sure some of our longtime viewers here, like 59 or Frey, or when I start talking about Whittier, Alaska, are like, oh my God, dude, shut up about Whittier freaking Alaska. Good old Whittier. I've been to Whittier. Wild that everybody lives in a single building, and the apartment building has an underground tunnel leading to the only school in town. And you better believe that's in my story. Young Legend says, working on the entrance of a pivotal character, adding some details to fill some holes from scenes I deleted. Nice, nice. Danny says, I've only heard about Whittier like 4 times. Good old Whittier, a town only accessible by plane, boat, or a long dark tunnel under a mountain. I mean, it's so cool, isn't it? In those first days of Novella November, I was writing about Whittier. You know, I was doing the intro to my book, right? And my character's rolling in through the train to Whittier, Alaska, and then he's like, "Wow, Whittier, Alaska kind of sucks." And I was like, "Oh no, I just wrote the fact that my guy doesn't like Whittier, Alaska into this book, but there's really people that live there." Maybe that won't make it to to the final draft. I'm sure the Whittier people will feel honored. We'll see. We'll see. And Kaylee says, in my previous draft, the inciting incident was a whole series of bonkers coincidences. I'm trying to rework it so the coincidences are instead driven by characters with agency. All right, that's a really interesting concept. I talked about this in some video forever ago. I think it was a writing book breakdown. It may have been Story Grid, or it may have been The Art of Fiction by John Gardner, who says there are 2 kinds of inciting incidences. He says that one is, I'm trying to remember, see if I can remember the exact words. Coincidental. Yeah, this is it. Coincidental and then causal. Right? A coincidental inciting incident would be like, you know, that movie 2012? The world starts ending. What's our character gonna do? He can't stop it. The world's ending. That's the inciting incident, and now you're just reacting to it versus something like, what's a causal inciting incident? What would be a good causal one? Whatever. I'm sure there's a billion. I can't think of any. Something that someone does. Causal, whatever. Professor Aspen says, I mean, mine is a superhero novel. It's an action drama about a boy that's forced to be a symbol, trying to keep himself genuine while also trying to handle the expectation of the masses. Me and my wife just started watching The Boys. If you're looking for even more inspiration or a different take on that, definitely an adult series, lots of gore, but also really well written. Kaylee says, first draft, oops, I didn't mean for that bomb to go off and make the ship go out of control. Second draft, we need to hijack the spaceship. I love it. Also, I just like talking about these kind of things with stories. Of course I do. It's writing theory, right? Also, look out for next week's video about a series of unfortunate events, the bad beginning, and how Lemony Snicket builds atmosphere in his stories, and how you can do that even if you're not writing a middle grade kids book. because this is like such a specific thing. Like if you're writing a thriller book, you can't just be like, I'm gonna write it like Lemony Snicket. Ooh. But you can be, hey, he did some really interesting moves here. Let me like, I can see why he made these choices. Let me make similar choices for my genre. Also, it's got a dope intro. Your boy's back doing intros. I'm trying to have every video that's not a writing book breakdown have some kind of fun intro. Because that was a lot of fun when I could do that before, and I'm back to it. I'm so hyped for the series of unfortunate events video. I know it's going to be an instant classic. I hope so. I hope so. All right. Also, podcast coming out on Wednesday, talking about how, hold on, how pantsers and plotters are out, architects and gardeners are in. Pantsers and plotters are out, architects and gardeners are in. George R.R. Martin, in a couple interviews, has talked about how he likes those terms better, as opposed to whether or not you're a pantser or a plotter. And then, yeah, so I talk about that. Wow. You know what? I just said everything I need to say for you skipped the podcast. You just got it all here. Just kidding. What? Check out the podcast. Helljumper says, sort of off topic, but where did you come up with the name of writing theory? So I landed on the name writing theory because specifically, it's kind of the content I was interested in, right? It was the idea that like, I want more content that's breaking down storytelling and narrative stuff in interesting ways. What is that? That's the theory of the craft. That's extrapolating information out and trying to put it in some way that you can use it, right? Then you go from theory to practice. And then, so I made the website for writing theory, and I went ahead and put that together because I was like, I like web development. I like doing cool little projects. This will be a fun one. Bought the domain, went ahead, and I was like, you know what? This could be bigger. And then I went ahead and made the YouTube channel and like grabbed the accounts on the different things. And then months, I'd say like 1 or 2 months later, I made the YouTube channel and I recorded my first video, which it's so funny. If you watch the very first writing theory video, my ambitions were way higher than my skill level at making videos. But you know what? I learned a lot. And I filmed like my first 12 videos just on my phone. So like, I didn't have to break the bank to try it out. You know what I'm saying? But that's how I came up with it. It was just like, this is the kind of information I'm most interested in. You know, it's learning and talking about these kind of meta details in a way that is actionable. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Professor Asmus says, what is a healthy sprint time would you say? I want to make myself do some. Follow the Pomodoro time management technique. Pomodoro time management technique, which essentially comes down to a large chunk of time where you are working. This is what Thick69 is saying in the chat. And then a small little break time. Right? And so the idea is like, I do 25 and 5, 25 minutes of writing and a 5-minute break when I'm just going by myself. On stream, it's a little bit more loose, but yeah, that's the idea. Some people sprint for an hour and take a 30-minute break. Gives them more time to be in the zone. Absolutely. You can check out another one of my websites. Let's just, hold on. Let's see if this thing is even still alive. About 2.5 years ago, I built PomodoroTV.com. Let's see if the YouTube API is broken. Oh, we gotta get a different YouTube video. I'll just steal this one. If you need something to do your writing sprints with, you can break up 30-minute chunks using this slider and play one video for 25 minutes and then switch to another video for 5 more minutes. But the Pomodoro idea is like, I chose 2 of the same videos here. Not a great move. Wait, hold on a second. Hold on a second. This should work with live streams. Oh my God. We got another viewer. Let's go. So I made this so you can put into YouTube videos, and then, hold on, let me make sure everything's muted. Wow. Look at that. Every streamer at some point pulls this move. Today's the day. And also I can see the exact delay of my live stream. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's ultra low latency mode on YouTube Live. Wow. Wow. It keeps going. You see it? Whoa, view botting. Oh my God. This is mesmerizing. Right? Is this not mesmerizing? If you say something in chat right now, we'll see it 20 times. Don't make it embarrassing. Secret tunnel. You made it. You made it. Frey, keep things from being too unhinged if you'd like to be recursive. All right, all right. We'll give everything. Wait, hold on, hold on. Let me see this. Hold on. Wow. Wow. Can I sync it up? He could not. Look, they keep going. I'm thinking very strongly, but getting nothing unhinged. And that's a first. All right, let's get out of here. We're getting sidetracked. That was fun while it lasted. Let's do another sprint. How's that sound? I want to drop myself through those windows. J Sam, hello. You've created a portal. Oh, so good, so good. Every streamer at some point must do the recursive stream. It's like you get it in the manual that YouTube sends you when you start doing YouTube live streams. I know, I wasn't supposed to tell you. All right, let's do another 20 minutes. Let's do some writing, make some progress, and have a good time. So 20 minutes on the clock. Lo-fi music is going up. And do your editing, do your writing. Let's make some progress. Let's get some words down. I'll see you in 20 minutes. another sprint done. And Mina, heading off to bed. Thanks for joining us while we had you. Enjoy the rest of your night. How'd everyone do? 60,108. I ended the sprint, crossing the finish line at 60,108 words. Feels good. Feels good. Kayla says 217 words, having a little trouble getting into the flow. That happens. I'm feeling it a little bit easier today, but Thursday, Friday, the past week, Thursday, Friday, it was really hard for me to get into the story. I don't know if I was drinking caffeine. I was getting a little lightheaded. I don't know if that had something to do with it or what. But today, I think I'm just at an easier to write scene, and it's easier to get the juices flowing. You know what I mean? Walter says 270 decent fight scene words. Good. 218, 59. Danny says 575, cross the Act 1 ending. Act 2, here we go. That's the hard part. Act 2's the hard part. Best of luck. They call it the middle 50, and I call it the hardest part of the story. Act 2. 59 says, I accidentally created a lot of internal and external conflict, so I'm stuck dealing with it. You talk about it like it's a bad thing. Like you like you stumbled into writing good conflict. Oh no. Oh, Jumper says 275 words. Let's go. Danny says Act 2 is easier for me because I always have plans for it, and Act 1 is more challenging. Interesting. Interesting. What's the consensus in chat? How do you all feel? Like, do you feel like it's easier to write Act 1, or do you feel more prepared going into Act 2? What do you think? I'm the opposite, Danny. I typically have things planned out pretty well for getting through Act 1, and then I tend to let my characters sort of like, I have like 3 major events that might need to happen in Act 2, and I kind of let my characters discover their way to hitting each one of those checkpoints. That's my typical, so far, I should say that. So far, that's my process. Bray says, just planning a little bit in Milanote. Are you doing a whole board? Isn't that Milanote? Or is that like the whiteboard app? Helljumper says, the first part and the last part are easiest and the middle stuff is harder. 59 says, I do 4 quarters and I skip the 3-act struggle. But then doesn't just become a 2 and 3-act struggle? The 2 and 3 quarter struggle? Walter says, as an absolute beginner, Act 1 is always easier. Soggy middle is my weakness, my nemesis. Bray says, I love planning, but I let myself be open to any new ideas that might come up. And I think that's the right move. I think it's fair. Act 1 feels a bit more tense. Like the pressure, like there's the pressure to set up the characters and the scenario, and that makes it harder for me. I totally get that. Totally get that. I do think there is a big emphasis when you're learning writing, where you have those lit teachers that are like, if you don't write a good opening sentence, then no one's gonna read your story. That's not true. It's not true. Danny says, question for you in the chat. How do you balance white room syndrome with over-describing settings? Here's what I say. Editing. But here is also, like, there is not this definite balance, you know? In fact, that would probably be a good video for me to do. When I did the chapters video, where I took chapters 8 and 9 that I picked out randomly from 5 different books and counted how many words they had and different genres to kind of get an idea for how many words should be in a chapter. And then I did a part 1 of my dialogue series. I counted how much dialogue was in each however many 1,000-word passage to come up with like how much dialogue should be present as like a percentage, or how many lines of dialogue per 1,000 words. I bet there's a good analysis there for description. How do you balance it? I think first, just write the way you naturally do. And then in editing, I think you can tell. I think you can tell whether or not what you're reading has the same level of detail as the books you like to read. Because that's also different. The kind of detail you might get in a fantasy book might be different than a thriller set in Chicago. That's, describing things a little bit differently. White room syndrome is, Thick29 has it in the chat. It's when your book feels like your characters are talking and acting in a white void due to a lack of environment. Well put, Thick29. Well put. But yeah, Danny. So I feel like in your editing process is when you want to tackle that. In your drafting process, write just how it feels natural to get through the draft, because that's the hardest part. It's a lot easier to edit than it is to come up with your whole story. But then when you're doing your editing, you can be like, I know in my head I have this setting that needs to feel and look the certain way and have this atmosphere. Series of Unfortunate Events video coming out next week. And I can tell I'm falling short here. I'm going to rewrite this detail. That's what I do at least. Great question. Great question. Thick29 says something about breaking Act 2 into 2 halves makes it easier for me. I break Act 2 into 3 sections, so I totally get that. Act 2, Professor Aspen says Act 2 is much easier to write. I feel like the starting has to feel like a start. Young Legend, the beginning of my story took me the longest. 2 went by pretty fast. And wow, lots of different approaches. I like it. Danny, that's a lot of what I'm editing about. There you go. Danny says, I'm a notorious underwriter, so I'm trying to improve in initial drafts by adding more descriptions. And also, I don't want to go full Charles Dickens, Les Miserables. Is that right? This is also one of those things where I think when you become a better writer, which is done by, predominantly writing and then evaluating that and figuring out how you want to do it better next time. I think this is like the core thing you have to figure out about your prose, is that sort of balance of where do you feel like you're getting with your descriptions and your verbiage and making the reader feel like they're in the world. But again, I gotta emphasize, while you are gonna be improving your prose by figuring out how you want to present the world to your reader in your proto draft, right? In that first time that you're sitting down and writing, what you see, key point here, everyone, key point. Make sure that you are not evaluating your draft and your level of detail and your characters based on what you're seeing in the published books that you read. It's nice. It would be nice to be able to say, I'm going to look at Brandon Sanderson. I'm going to look at my book. Yeah, I'm pretty close. It'd be nice to say that. But remember, when you're looking at published books, especially for things like detail, especially for things like character work, you're looking at the end result of like a team of multiple people who are industry leaders in editing, in understanding the market, in working with authors to bring out the best in them. You're looking at a team product, not an individual product. Keep that in mind, because I think a lot of people get hit with imposter syndrome for that very specific reason. Goodbye, Kaylee. Goodbye. It was so nice having you here. One of the tips I learned, Professor Aspen says, is to use the rest of the bodily functions. Yeah, smell, touch, sight. Thick29 says, I have a game dev analogy. Interesting. For white room syndrome, but it's hard to explain in chat. It's the concept of textile density. Something far away needs lower quality textures than something close up. You're talking about level of detail, right? LOD. LOD. Walter says, I love these streams. Now I have to go take care of my messy sleep schedule. It was a pleasure having you here, Walter. Take care. Take care. Danny says, why do you have to call me out like that, Carson? It's only Monday. Danny, imposter syndrome, dark emo. That's me. That's you. right now. But that doesn't have to be you in the future. Let's go. LOD is the vertices for the mesh, but LODs can have smaller textures too. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. But that makes sense now that you say that. Same concept though. Professor Aston says, while I love Suzanne Collins' Hunger Games, I don't think that the vibe I get from reading the book is what I want from my novel. It's crazy how different vibes you can get from words. It is, and it's also daunting as a writer. So first off, let's all acknowledge, before we do our next writing sprint, let's all acknowledge it's pretty crazy what we're trying to do. You are trying to write, let's say, a 70,000 word book. And of those 70,000 words, let's say that is 7,000 sentences. That seem about right? Yeah. Let's say you're writing 7,000 sentences. You're trying to write all 7,000 of those with a similar tone, with a similar level of detail, maybe, with a similar, you know, no mistakes is maybe a better way to say it. 7,000 times in a row. In Starlight Farms Kindle for Talking Dogs, I'm sure there's stuff I missed in all my editing. And at the end of it, I had someone who was like, I noticed like 5 typos in your book. And I was like, that's like 0.001% error. I will take that. It's kind of crazy that we have to hit that level of quality. You know what I'm saying? Professor Aston, Hunger Games felt so cold and depressing. But I want that cold and depression to be broken, and I have the viewer feel like there are better things to come. Professor Aspen, you're going to like the series of unfortunate events video. Something to keep in mind is juxtaposition. We're about to do our next writing sprint, but something to keep in mind is juxtaposition, because that can heighten and create these dynamics in that atmosphere and that feeling of your story. Is, let's say you have those cold moments, like how you felt where, you know, the Hunger Games was presented. When you pair that up with moments that are purposefully designed to be tender and warm and maybe, I don't know, passionate, whatever the opposite of that might be, it makes both of these different tones that much more heightened. I always quote when I'm talking about this, the book series Dungeon Crawler Carl, which is really popular right now, where the book is bonkers. The book is insane. The book is freaking insane, okay? But in especially books 3, 4, 5, 3 and on in the series, the author purposefully makes these moments of like, hey, the world is crazy. Here is a specific moment where our characters are going to ignore the craziness and have like a very human and emotional and realistic kind of emotional interaction. I said that too many times. But by having those little moments, it makes them so much more impactful because they're used so sparingly, but it makes everything else feel even crazier because now you have like this dynamic journey. So that's something to keep in mind. Again, more on that in the video next week. What up? Let's wrap up today with some writing. How's that sound? Which means we're gonna get out of here having done like an hour of writing, and that feels great. Helljumper says, also, Carson, you finally got me to get Pro Writing Aid. Helljumper, if you get Pro Writing Aid, you better use that damn link in all my YouTube videos, or I'm gonna be so upset. I'll be so upset. If you tell me you just organically went to the site, whoo. I hope you like it. There's also a brand new feature that they just put out the other day. I don't know if you've seen this. It's called Manuscript Analysis. I'm gonna do on Friday, the end of this live stream, I'm gonna run my my project through Manuscript Analysis, and it gives you like a full rundown of like, here's the plot points that you really nailed, that are really good and strong. Here's a plot point where you just like, maybe you kind of missed the mark, maybe doesn't feel fully satisfied. Here's something that you created that was never resolved. It gives you that kind of feedback. Jumper says, "Don't worry, I use your link." I'm just kidding. I'm just kind of messing with, kind of messing with you. I think with how it works with cookies, if you click on the link and then come back in like 30 days time, and then decide to upgrade or something like that, it's all tracked. But you don't have to. I was just messing around. I hope you find it really useful. Of course, I mean, I use Pro Writing Aid. And I think the biggest thing about it, like, I think I saw, if you're in the Discord, I saw, it might have been Chicky is maybe the user, who posted that they have like 135,000 word story. And they got a quote from an editor for like $28,000 to edit that story. And I was like, my guy, Pro Writing Aid is like $10 a month or something, and you can get most of the way there. I didn't say that. I didn't want to shill. It seemed like it was not the right time to shill Pro Writing Aid to a user in the community when they were like frustrated by how much money editing was going to cost. I can read the room. You know what I mean? All right. Anyways, but yeah. Helljumper, if you have any questions for how I use Pro Writing Aid, let me know. I'll give you the rundown. I think I have a video I put out not too long ago on it too, though. But anyways, 20 minutes on the clock. We're gonna wrap up everything with one last sprint, and we're gonna have a good time while doing it. 59 says, "That's why I have a basement full of monkeys and typewriters. Free editing. Crack the code. You crack the code." Helljumper, got it. Danny says, "For one of my manuscripts, 129,000 words, I got a quote from an editor for $10,000, and it's a bit disheartening." Well, Danny, here's what I would say. On Friday, I don't know if you're going to be here on Friday or not. I'm going to try out this manuscript analysis thing on my Starlight Farms Kennel for Talking Dogs manuscript. So that's like what the thing that it was just me and my wife doing the editing. There are things I already know that aren't done perfect in there. We're going to talk about all of that, and then I'm going to use their manuscript analysis, and we're going to see what it returns. And if you like what you see there, it's no replacement for like having an industry professional look at your story and read it and give you feedback, of course. But if it can get you 70% of the way there, I mean, would you pay $30 to get 70% of the way there? I would, you know? Danny says, "I'm going to do my best. I haven't taken the Pro Writing Aid jump because I haven't researched what they do in terms of saving your story AI stuff." Oh, well, you're talking to the right guy. They're not paying me to give this spiel, so I won't. So I won't go through it. They do say on their website that they do not use any of your story stuffs. I'm trying to remember the phrasing, to train their algorithms. So that's what they say. Of course, you can always do more research to your heart's desire, but that's what they say. All right. Let's do some writing. I got 20 minutes on the clock. I got the lo-fi music going up, and we're going to finish strong. I'll see you guys in 20 minutes. The final writing sprint is done. We ended over here at 60,709 words, bringing my total today to almost 1,900 words. 6,709. Nice. It is shocking how much quicker writing can go when you're in a scene that you're excited to be writing. Because let's be honest, not every scene is a big exciting scene to write. It would be nice if it was like that. 59 says 248 words and finished a short 550 word scene. Nice. Probably needs some expanding. We'll get there. We'll get there eventually. How'd everyone else do? Feels good. 2,000 word day. Having fun on a live stream. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. Hell Jumper, only 129 words this sprint. Not only 129, you got 129 words this sprint. I guess it's all the same. Whatever. Denny says 319, but I had to detour my series wiki to make sure I was describing character identifying characteristics correctly. Yeah, you might see me a couple times kind of navigating through my project because I'm trying to remember, you know, all those things that happened earlier in the novel. How do I make sure they're being done appropriately later in the novel? I get that. I get that. Also, how do you do your wiki? Ouch. Do you use a certain piece of software, or is it like a Google Doc with a bunch of links? How do you like to do your wiki for your series? I like doing things like that. Everyone who wrote today, good job. Good job. You know, it's easy to just do other things, but you ended today with a couple hundred words, a little bit further in your story, and one step closer to finishing it. That's pretty sick. With all of that being said, 59 says, I draw my characters to put them on a PureRef board. That's dope. Wish I could draw. All of that being said, I had a great time with you all. Tomorrow I'll be in the earlier time slot, specifically for our European friends across the pond. If you like writing these, you can always watch them after the fact, too. They're still good guided writing sessions, and you end up with an hour. I think today we had an hour, 20 minutes of writing. And that's pretty good. You can also, I know it's a little late, you can also go back to the Novella November live streams that we did. I was a little bit more rigorous then, I think, about when we're doing our writing sprints, making all that progress. Frey says, I'm a European friend. You certainly are, Frey. You certainly are. But otherwise, I had a great time. I hope you did too. And I'll see you maybe tomorrow, hopefully Wednesday. And on Friday, stick around to see how this manuscript analysis thing goes. That should be kind of fun. All right. Have a great rest of the night. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye. Have a great time. Have a great time. I'll see you. I'll see you next time. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Hearts all over the place. Hearts everywhere. You're all the best. Hell Jumper, I'm saluting you even though you can't see me. Goodbye, friends. Goodbye.